Good morning, afternoon, or evening, everyone. My name is Elivaras, and welcome to another Brawlstars video. Today, December 18th, Supercell released the next Brawlstars update, which brings with it a whole host of quality of life changes, balance fixes, and bug fixes. So let's hop right in. I want to spend the majority of the time talking about the balance changes, since those are the most interesting to me. But we're going to skim over some of the other parts of the update here. So first thing, we can hop into tickets. Tickets are now permanent and can be used in any ticketed event. This is really nice, means you're not forced to use all the tickets, use all your tickets on maybe an event you don't like. So if you don't like Boss Fight but love Robo Rumble, then you're not forced to wait till the next week to open Brawl boxes because the tickets would disappear. Now that's changed, so that's a really nice fix. I don't know why it was like that before, but anyways, it's fixed now, so that's great. Added more stakes for ticketed events. Basically, I think they added 2, 3, and 4. It used to be you could bet 1 ticket, 5 tickets, 10, 15, 20, something like that, and now they added 2, 3, and 4. Tickets have been added to the shop. It can be purchased with gems, and it's quite a large return. Like, the biggest one is 80 gems for 60 tickets, which if you're getting 20, let's say you're on the low end and you're getting 20 coins a ticket, that means that you are getting a total of 1,200 coins. That's basically minimum, 1,200 coins minimum. This is without boosters and without doublers. So 1,200 coins minimum. If you've got a coin booster active, then that's 1,800 total. If you got a coin doubler, that's 3,600, although free-to-play players will unlikely be having much of the coin doublers. The coin boosters were only 20 gems a pop, so after the conversion from chips to gems, I know I spent about, I think I bought 4 7-day coin boosters because they were only 20 gems, but the coin doublers were 50 gems a pop. So I didn't get many of those. The coin boosters will likely be what affects most people. So if you're on the low end, you'll be getting 1,200 plus 600 will be 1,800 if you've got a coin booster active for 80 gems. And compare that to a Brawl box. So a big box. Big box is 10 Brawl boxes. You buy it for 80 gems. Basically, what you're getting is for 80 gems, you're getting 1,800 with a coin booster active or 1,200 without. So at minimum, you're getting 200 coins more, or 2 more Brawl boxes than the big box would give you. And if you're on a higher end, maybe 30 coins or up, that number's only going to increase. So it's crazy good value from what it looks like. So shop changes. Coin booster has been removed from the game. Controversial change. Well, we'll have to see how that pans out. I don't have too many thoughts on this. I guess we're just going to have to see how it goes in the future. They did, however, buff the coin doubler drop chance. So this is to replace the booster drops, as it says there, and we'll see how much. We'll see if it makes up for the coin booster. So now, game room changes. Brawl boxes added to the game room, so you can open them while playing in a room, and which is really nice. So I don't have to disband. If I'm playing with friends and I get a brawl box, I don't have to disband the room, so I can go and open it, or leave the room, open it, and then come back. I can just open it there in the room. And when the game room owner leaves the room, another player will be promoted to owner instead of disbanding the room. And this is another little great quality of life fix. UI changes, new health and ammo bar style. You will be seeing this in the gameplay footage. It looks a little bit more crisp. It's a little nicer. I like it better than the old version. Hit indicator added to the super button. When your super is full, the button will flash and play a sound. You successfully land an attack. This is really nice. Especially when I'm playing Piper and doing maybe some shots where I'm hitting people that might be off the screen. I always loved it when I could see my super charge up and be like, oh, I hit someone. But when your super is at full, you don't know. So it's really nice to have that little effect, and you will be seeing that in the gameplay as well. I don't use joysticks, so this doesn't really affect me much, but joystick size is now properly scaled to match the physical size of the device. Probably pretty nice for a lot of people using like iPads or tablets to play this. Added the trophy sorted brawler list back to the brawler profile page. This is really nice, and you can see that basically if I go to the main screen and I tap on my character there, then you'll see, we got the brawler list back. So that's really nice. I don't know why they took it out originally, but it's nice to have it back at least. And Brawler Trophies is also added to the battle end screen. This is a very interesting change, as it basically means... You'll see that also in the footage when I finish some of the games. I'm doing a few bot games to test out star powers, and also doing a few multiplayer games. And you'll see that at the end of the screen. And what it's going to do, though, is the biggest argument for a long time has been like, oh, when people complain about getting matched up against players with like 50 power level and they've only got 12, and people would always say, including me, would always say, oh, it's because they rank you because of trophies and not power level. But that's going to get exposed now. We're going to have to see if that's actually the case. And I've already seen a bunch of Reddit posts complaining about the matchmaking after being able to see the trophies. So we'll see how this pans out. It'll likely get better with global when we get a bigger outpouring of people into the game. And then a bunch of bug fixes. Nothing too notable in here. A bunch of issue with Daryl, with Daryl's super, where he could get stuck over water, and then Daryl and Bull, where if they're about to use their super and they get maybe Dynamite ulted, they'd like end up supering into the air, and it was a bunch of crazy stuff like that. They also they also made some map changes to GG QoL to hopefully make it more balanced. We'll have to see how that pans out, but yeah. So now moving on to the interesting stuff, we're going to go into the balance changes. So let's talk about this. So star player is now less likely to be awarded to a member of the losing team. Personally, I'm not a huge fan of this change. I liked it to be easily recognizable. You know, like if you're a star player on the losing team, you could basically say, wow, we should have won that game. Like, and most times it'll be, yes, you should have won that game. If you had a star player in the losing team, it was like, oh, you know, your team screwed up big time right near the end and let them get a goal in Brawl Ball, or one of your members got out of position and died and dropped all the gems. But in reality, your team should have won that game, so I think star player was a good way to tell that. And star player is now less likely to be awarded to players who lost many stars in bounty or dropped a lot of gems. I really do like this change, though, that it's not only focused on damage, because you could have that guy with like 10 gems charging into the enemy backline, like that one Bull or that one Primo or that one Daryl who just grabs all the gems, charges in the enemy backline, does a ton of damage but gets himself killed, and then you lose the game. So those people won't be getting star player as often, which will be nice, and I think that'll more accurately reflect who is star player. Nita's Bear, Jesse's Turret, and Pam's Healing Station all have a bit less health when these characters are bosses in boss fight. I think this is definitely needed. They got buffed up like super strong in boss fight, and Nita, Jesse, and Pam were some of the... Well, I don't know about Pam because she doesn't do much damage, but Nita and Jesse were some of the strongest players in boss fight, so I think this is a needed change. Temple Ruins tweaked to make the Barley Dynamite Mortis combo less effective. Yes, thank heavens. Now you are not confined to having to play a thrower on these maps if you wanted to avoid taking easy losses, or cheesy losses, I guess, because of this strategy. And then, yes, GG QoL tweak to be more difficult for attackers. Now, I don't know, that's interesting because I was playing on GG QoL a few days ago, and I found there was only like one choke. I found it pretty dang difficult as the attackers. I don't know how this will pan out, so I guess we'll have to see what the community says. So now we get into the actual balance changes here. Now, I'd like to preface this by saying, overall, in my opinion, a lot of the star power buffs were meant to make the 1,000 token cost, when you buy the star power, seem justified rather than just as a means of directly buffing the brawler. Because remember, 1,000 tokens is a lot of tokens. When you're spending 1,000 tokens on a star power, you better be getting your money worth out of that. A lot of these star power changes, such as Bull, Daryl, Primo, and Brock, their star powers were largely underwhelming for the 1,000 token cost that you had to pay for them. So I think a lot of these buffs are kind of remedying that 1,000 token cost and whether that's worth it or not, rather than trying to make the brawler like a lot stronger. So we see El Primo health increased by 200, same with Bull. I think those are necessary changes. Short range brawlers are definitely getting the crap beaten out of them, with a lot of very strong, very hard hitting long range brawlers. They've got a very hard time in most maps. You got to have a map with a ton of bushes like Snake Prairie or Outlaw Camp for them to really be effective. So I think these are needed buffs. Primo's burn duration reduced from 5 to 4 seconds, but it increases the total damage. So this means it's going to be doing 150 damage per second, which is a little better, but I still don't think for 1,000 tokens how much it does in comparison to other brawler star powers. I don't know. We'll have to see how it pans out, but I just don't feel that it's super strong. Now, I've got a lot to say about Bull. Mainly in regards to his star power. So we see his main attack and damage increase from 400 to 440. Definitely necessary. Bull needs all the love he can get. Currently one of the worst brawlers in the game, if not the worst. But now let's look at his star power. So it triggers at 50% health, up from 30%. So after playing around with Bull star power for a bit, I still find it kind of underwhelming. The issue is that a lot of the time when you get down to low health, it's because of ranged pressure. And with Bull's incredibly short range, he's not really in a position to put his star power to use. So for example, a Colt hits him with one volley. Bull is likely not close enough to the Colt to use his star power. The other issue is that it's so dangerous for Bull to engage opponents at less than half health. Because he has to get so close, he's very susceptible to lots of shots and will die easily. Personally, I think it would be super interesting if they moved Bull's star power to a long-range brawler. This would provide a very risk versus reward type feel. You take the ability to get one shot in exchange for dealing more damage, but the risk of getting hit is a lot less, as you don't have to be in your opponent's face to take advantage of the power. Now, this might, like, if they were to do this, it might seem unbalanced, but the thing is that it's a lot less chance to get hit in comparison to Bull and Primo, who are very easy to hit. So it's basically like if they get hit by a Brock, a Piper, a Colt volley, Ricochet volley, they're still dead. And basically it's just the risk versus reward of I can shoot fast. Like as Piper, I think it'd be really cool to have an ability like this. Like I can peg more high damage shots out faster and have the chance of doing a ton of damage, but I'm taking a huge risk in that I can be one shot. And then I'm out not doing any damage for like 10 to 15 seconds. So it's definitely it would definitely be a risk versus reward if that was the case. I honestly feel, though, that they need to completely rework Bull's star power. I thought about it for a bit, and I don't have any ideas off the top of my head, but what I do believe is that short-range brawlers should not have to be at low health to take advantage of their star power. It's just too easy to hit them, and it's way too easy for them to die. Like, as soon as they get close, they can be hit by one or two brawlers, and they're dead almost instantly. Their health is what keeps them able to be... their health is what lets them get up in someone's face, and if you cut their health in half, then they're much less likely to be able to do that effectively and will just die a lot quicker. So yeah, those are my thoughts on that. So next we're going to take a look at Bow. Star power vision increased from 5 to 6 tiles. Overall, Bow's star power is interesting, but it's just not useful in enough places. It's really useful in a map like Snake Prey or Outlaw Camp, but it's very map specific, and I don't think it's really worth the 1,000 token investment even with this buff. So I would propose a rework to this if I had one, but overall I do think it kind of needs to be reworked because it's not useful enough in enough circumstances. Brock's star power damage increased from 160 to 240. Again, just justifying the fact that you have to spend 1,000 tokens to get the star power. 160 is basically no damage at all. 240 remedies that a little bit. I think it still does have to be increased a bit, or maybe the radius made a bit bigger. One of the two. Crow's super charges slightly more slowly, and Crow's poison duration from main attack and super reduced from 5 to 4 seconds. Definitely needed changes. Crow was one of the strongest, if not the strongest brawler in the game. His super was part of the reason for that. He flies so quickly, he can get out really quickly, and he can jump in really quickly without much chance for people to predict. And he was just super strong, especially with his poison keeping people from healing. I think reducing the amount of ticks of poison is a really good change, as it means people will be able to heal up faster and they don't have to spend longer outside of the fight. So I think that buff was, or that nerf was definitely needed. Colt, reload time increase. I think that's justified. 1.25 to 1.5 is not that bad. And he still has the capability to put out a ton of damage when it being played by a skillful player. Mortis, very controversial change here based on some of the comments and posts I've seen. On Reddit, star power healing reduced from 1,200 to 1,000 per soul collected. Personally, I think this was a necessary change. I don't think, personally I think it was necessary, and it's not a big deal. So the reason it's necessary is because 1,200 healing is a ton of healing, especially when there can be up to 10 souls in the ground. People are constantly dying left and right. His star power was super strong when he could just out of nowhere pick up like 2,400 or 1,200 or 2,400 health and heal up insanely just out of nowhere because other people can't see his souls. A 200 health nerf for that is, in my opinion, it's just toning that down just a little bit, and I think it was necessary. It's also not a big deal because 200 health really is not that much of a difference to make a huge impact. Nita, base health increased by 200. Star power healing effect increased from 180 to 200. Overall, I think this was necessary. Nita's in a bit of a weak spot, so I think getting this health increase is needed. The star power healing effect is also needed because it's just, again, it's not enough to justify the 1,000 token cost, and but overall, I think my thoughts are that the problem with Nita right now is that her bear is just not tanky enough. It's either doesn't move fast enough or it's not tanky enough, because often, like, a Colt can kill it with 2 volleys. Dynamite can kill it in a few shots if he plays it right. So it's just too easy to kill the bear, and it isn't enough of a nuisance as it should be to make it worthwhile. So we'll have to see how this pans out. Little buff, that is needed, though. Healing Station, heal effect reduced from 400 to 360. Definitely needed on Pan there. She's super strong, especially with her star power. Able to stay alive for way too long, so pulling that in a bit, reining that back in is definitely necessary. Daryl got a bunch of changes. Health increased by 200. Main attack shots fired a bit closer together will help him to deal more damage, so it's not just kind of like out there and unpredictable. Star power damage reduction increased to 80%, and his roll speed reduced by 400 points there. So I think both of these are good changes. The roll speed reduction will make it more easy for people to hit him, which is good because that means he actually gets use of his star power. Again, a 1,000 token cost was not enough to justify it before, as he moves so fast that it was basically impossible to hit him anyway. So he was basically taking no damage, so the 70% was basically useless. Reducing his roll speed and upping the reduction will help a bit, but I still don't know if it's good enough. And then it fixed a whole bunch of issues with Daryl getting stuck and stuff like that. Getting close towards the end of the list here. Poco has a new star power, definitely necessary. His main attack now also heals allies for 200 health per hit. Take into account that this does not heal him. So after playing around with Poco's star power for a bit, it's decent in my opinion. The healing is not enough to be using your attack solely for the purpose of healing, so it seems like it is best used when you can hit allies and enemies with one attack. This is a lot better of a mechanic than what it was before, regardless of how powerful it is. Instead of rewarding poor play, it now rewards good positioning. And I think that's the key here. That instead of rewarding, like, you had to die to get good use out of it last time, and seeing as Poco's the main gem carry and smash and grab, you don't want to be dying. So it rewarded poor play. Now it rewards better positioning. You have to position yourself correctly to be able to hit your allies and the enemy at the same time, which I think is a lot better of a mechanic than it was before. We'll have to see how it pans out. It seems a little weak to me, but again, we'll have to see how it pans out. Spike, star power healing reduced from 600 to 500. I think this was necessary. Spike was almost unkillable when he dropped his thing down. He dropped his super down. This will help remedy that a bit, and I think rein it back into where it should be. Terra, star power, companion health increased from 1,600 to 2,000. Definitely necessary. Too easy to kill her little pet. So I think this will help a bit. You can see a bug fix there. And also on Ricochet now, new star power effects. So you should see a little bit of gameplay for Ricochet in the footage. It looks pretty cool. His bullets now look different, and his star power makes them look even more different. So it's easier to tell when they take effect. And I think overall it's a nice little visual change. It just looks better than it did before. And his star power damage reduced from 100 to 80. I'm not sure how I feel about this. I think it can be justified. 100 extra damage is quite a lot, especially if you're getting bounce shots with your super, like in a confined location. It can do a ton of damage. So I think overall this is a pretty decent change, but we'll have to see how it pans out. So alright, that's going to wrap it up for the update and the balance changes. Feel free to tell me how you think these balance changes will pan out. If you think some weren't deserved, some were deserved, maybe a bigger buff to one brawler or a smaller buff to another, feel free to discuss it in the comments. I'd love to discuss it along with you guys. So yeah, that's going to about cover it for today. I would like to thank you all for watching. I hope you have a great rest of your day. Cheers, guys.